1 year ago, tragedy struck at a Berkeley student cooperative when a student overdosed on drugs. Now the student-run organization is responding by changing its policy on drug use as it struggles to regain its reputation. One family speaks out on the dangers of co-ops and how their lives were changed by their son's decisions.
Keep holding your head up, John.
This is John Gibson.
Keep your head up, John. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
This is what his life is like every day.
Squeeze hard. All your fingers. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay, relax. Relax.
He's not going to have this amazing life that he thought he was going to have. You know, he planned to work with Doctors Without Borders and, you know, going to go to med school, going to go to law school, work for the UN, do all these really cool things, affect change in the world. And now he's, you know, big change would be control over his body.
John Gibson was a UC Berkeley student who lived at Cloyne Court, an off-campus co-op house at UC Berkeley. Around 10 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day, John reportedly suffered a heart attack in his room. 4 hours later, a Cloyne resident called 911 after finding John blue in the face and unresponsive. A hospital blood test revealed a mix of marijuana, cocaine, and alcohol in his system. Today, John lives with his parents in their San Diego home. His car still sits in the driveway. His heart attack left him with an anoxic brain injury, which occurs when the brain doesn't receive enough oxygen.
Open those eyes up, John. That's it, yeah. I'm definitely seeing John holding his head more and keeping his eyes focused on whoever's with him, as opposed to when I first met him, his eyes really tended to roll back in his head quite a bit. It's a slow process for him, unfortunately, but there are some progress notes that I can see.
Last March, John Gibson was a UC Berkeley student who lived at Cloyne Court, an off-campus co-op house at UC Berkeley. Cloyne, which is run by a committee of students, is now the largest co-op in the country, housing 150 members.
He lived in Cloyne and just loved it because this was total freedom. He could do anything, and nobody said anything.
Before moving to Cloyne, John lived in a freshman dorm where his behavior became destructive.
John did many bad things. He was an adult. He was 18. And he used his skateboard in the halls and down the stairs and wrote that the RA was a tool. And then his final act of rebellion was he decided to paint the quad by filling balloons with paint and paintballing off the roof. There was mistake number one. I should have said, throw him out. He's not an adult. Look at the crap that he does.
Ultimately, campus officials did kick him out, and eventually he moved into Cloyne. A year later, he overdosed.
I requested several interviews with officials from Cloyne, but board members of the Berkeley Student Cooperative voted against participating in this story. The co-op culture remains something of a mystery, as students and officials are tight-lipped when it comes to co-op policies.
In fact, the 2010 Cloyne Court Guidebook explicitly bans students from speaking to members of the press, saying, "Do not say anything to them except for no comment." One co-op representative told me any story involving John Gibson and his mother would reflect badly on Cloyne.
And I guarantee you when this group graduates in May, there will be the party to end all parties with drugs coming out the wazoo. There were drugs I'd never heard of that these kids are using.
John's former girlfriend, Alyssa Wolf, still lives in Cloyne. She broke the silence and agreed to talk about how the co-op culture has changed since John's overdose.
They have a new drug policy. It's like zero tolerance, and they're really they're very serious about this. We don't have our annual rave party anymore. We don't have weed plants. We don't, there's no longer a meth lab in the basement. Bye.
But Madeline Bennett remains skeptical.
There are photos all over the place of pot plants being grown on the roof, and there, as Elisa was talking about, the meth lab in the basement. And if I were, say, the landlord of this home and rented it out to people, and they turned it into a meth lab, I would be responsible legally.
For the Gibsons, what was once their living room now resembles a hospital.
We have spent so much on drugs and, equipment and pads, incontinence pads and everything that you could possibly imagine. The standing frame, the Hoyer lift, all that stuff we had to buy.
Madeline has filed an insurance claim against Cloyne Court. She is now seeking $2 million from the co-op to help recoup some of the money she and her husband pulled from their retirement plan.
We spend an average of $5,000 to $6,000 a week on medical care. I thought he'd be healthier here, he'd be happier here, and he would be more likely to recover. His friends will feel more comfortable visiting in our house than in a hospital.
And there is inner stillness.
And for friends like Dave Medrano, visiting John on a weekly basis helps him cope with the loss of his best friend.
Enlightenment rises from above thought, not falling back to a level below thought, the level of an animal or plant. The thing I miss most about him is just having that brother, that best friend to talk with, that I could share anything with. I would just love to have a conversation with him again. I miss his voice so much. I miss his texts. I miss just him. So whatever he can recover, I would be really, really grateful for.
I hope to God that John comes back, because I think he could do great things for the world. I don't know whether he will or not. If he doesn't, I will do great things for the world through him or because of him. Something will change.
Richmond, California is well known for the crime and violence that plagues its streets, but its future might be getting greener. Community gardens are helping keep North Richmond residents healthier and safer by producing fresh food for the communities and a work outlet for would-be criminals.
Fresh produce, organic options. Healthy fruits and vegetables are just a store away for most. But in communities like North Richmond, access to anything healthy is merely a luxury.
So fresh food is harsh around here. It's hardly ever come by, especially if you don't have a car.
Every other store is a liquor store. Liquor stores don't carry fresh fruits and vegetables and fresh meats. It's the sweet things like potato chips and candy and the soda pops.
There were studies done that say that even though communities like this, even if they do get enough food, and a large percentage are not, the food that they're getting are so devoid of nutrients and everything like that, that they're actually in starvation mode. Their body is actually malnutritioned.
North Richmond, referred to by many as a food desert, is home to approximately 2,500 residents. It's infamous for its high crime and obesity rates, as well as serious pollution problems.
Illegal dumping is a very big problem out here. And there's an epidemic of empty lots in the center of the community. I counted one time that there's over 27 empty lots in a 4-block square radius, literally. I mean, you could just drive around here and see, just lot after lot after lot. And the empty lots actually end up being, the largest recipient of illegal dumping. If you're talking about basic household garbage, you're talking about baby diapers, you're talking about food, rotten meat, you're talking about all kinds of different things. Once that stuff gets cooked in the heat, then you start having issues with inhalants because gases are released. Then, once it stays there for another few weeks, then you have rodents and you have insects start to get into it. Then you have animals that get into it, tear through it, and drag it across the sidewalk.
With an abundance of empty lots and high obesity rates due to the lack of access to fresh fruits and vegetables in North Richmond, some insightful residents feel they've found a solution.
It's taking care of the blight issue. It's bringing the community together. We're growing food, and it's beautiful.
The Lot of Crops initiative, which officially began early last year, is a brainchild of Ialoda Kini, director of Cure Me, a non-profit gardening project based in Richmond. Herself and co-director Salim Bey, with funding from the North Richmond Mitigation Fund, have now transformed 7 lots into thriving North Richmond community gardens, providing a gift of health to its residents.
And I'm here today to pick up my application for the community garden. As a child, I had all kinds of bed plants, and I love plants, and I love fruit and fresh fruit and vegetables. So when I heard about the community garden, I thought it would be to my benefit and my family's benefit to plant my own fresh vegetables.
The program currently employs 5 North Richmond youth who restore the empty lots and plant community gardens with guidance from their mentor.
The Mother Earth, Iolanda, she called us earth gangsters because we garden and we have a certain mentality about doing our jobs.
What we're doing is we get the mulch when the mulch be delivered, and we put it in the bins to build it up, and then we start. I haven't started planting seeds yet though, but I guess we're gonna do that now.
These young community gardeners are between the ages of 19 and 25 and play a vital role in executing the goals set by their co-directors.
Our goal is to have a virtual farm in North Richmond, and what it is once you add up all of the lots and the different, the plots and the different things, you actually have acres and the equivalent of acres and acres, which would be a small farm. As we begin to add more lots, inside the community, we increase the volume of healthy vegetables that we produce, but we also cut down on the amount of places that the illegal dumpers can dump.
In addition to the many advantages of these garden programs, the employment of young at-risk youth in their own community is a symbol of hope where many sometimes have nowhere else to turn.
There's a 90+% unemployment rate between 17 and 26 out here in this community. I mean, if that's almost 100% of the young people in this community have nothing to do.
Angela Davis is the community director of the Shields Reed Community Center and oversees the garden program, which has just begun planting fruits and vegetables and delivers fruit trees to the surrounding community.
Once the kids build a crime sheet or a crime record, most people give up on them. Society gives up on them. And this program is here to show that even though youth have made mistakes, they can redeem themselves by giving back to the community, and it's possible to change.
It's good. I mean, it keeps me out of trouble, give me something to do.
And me, myself, personally, I've been shot in my head 2 times.
I changed my ways. I done been in jail a few times, a lot of times. So I don't got time to keep doing the same thing over and over.
Now I have kids, and I want it to be a better neighborhood than it was for me. For them, I want it to be better for them.
Just 3 weeks after being interviewed, Irvin Coley, one of 5 Lots of Crops youth gardeners, was shot and killed just blocks away from the garden.
I recruited Irvin specifically for this program. It was kind of designed with him in mind and, some of his friends in mind, because I saw the need, for some of the young people out here who really wanted to do something positive, and were looking for opportunities, other than hanging out on the street. And, his loss is, it's just, the totality of it is just really devastating.
Be a lot of negative people around here. There's a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy. People don't like to see people doing good, and people down talk people sometimes. And you gotta people. I be telling people you gotta get out the stage of that. You gotta think positive. I like to be happy, me myself personally. I love to be happy.
Despite Irvin's death, Mother Earth Iolode and Salim believe that their garden can be an important part of the solution to the problems in North Richmond, and they will continue planting seeds of change in his memory.
California has the largest population of Sikhs in the United States. Since 9/11, their traditional long beards and turbans have made them a target for racially motivated crimes. Here in the Bay Area, 1 in 10 Sikh men have been attacked. A recent incident near Sacramento has rallied Sikhs and other community members against these perceived hate crimes.
This crime is the second brutal attack in recent months against 6 Americans that were wearing turbans and had long beards. We consider the turban as a gift from God, symbolizing our religion. Therefore, we are deeply concerned that these assaults may be attacks on the Sikh way of life.
The shooting of two elderly Sikh men shocked the small community of Elk Grove. On the afternoon of March 4th, Surinder Singh and his friend Gurmeet Atwal were on their daily afternoon walk when they were both shot. Singh died immediately, and after more than 6 weeks of fighting for his life, Atwal also succumbed to his injuries.
And this one is when he got here in States. We used to live in Santa Clara. These two. A good father, good grandfather.
Gurmeet Atwal moved to the US 10 years ago to live with son Kamaljeet. He was one of more than 4,000 Sikhs living in the quiet suburb of Elk Grove, just south of Sacramento. Since 9/11, Sikhs across the US have been the target of crimes motivated by hate. But this violent crime was a first for Elk Grove.
I was disbelief that anybody would gun down anybody, let alone a senior citizen and, in this case, two Sikh gentlemen. It's beyond fathom that this would happen.
City officials say the pride of the city is in its diversity.
Elk Grove is really a melting pot, both economically as well as culturally. In the Elk Grove School District, there are 75 different languages spoken. So pretty much you have a representation from almost every country in the world who lives in Elk Grove, goes to school here, has jobs here.
Sikhs have been in California for more than a century. They emigrated from the northern Indian state of Punjab and arrived here as farmers and railroad workers. Nearly 500,000 Sikhs live in America. About 40% of them live in Northern California. The Sikh faith follows the teachings of its founding gurus.
Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, I'm going to create a religion somebody can recognize from far. So he has given us this shape, the religion, turban and the beard.
Their unique appearance may have made them a prime target for extremists.
This is not an accidental shooting. So these two men were targeted for some reason. We have no information whatsoever about what the reason for that targeting was.
Police are now investigating the crime as a double homicide. But without a suspect or a clear motive, Police Chief Lehner cannot call it a hate crime.
Whether it was a random drive-by shooting, a gang initiation, targeted because they were Sikhs, targeted because they were mistaken for Muslims, targeted for any other reason. There's no question they were the target.
Most of the attacks against Sikh men occurred right after 9/11. And since then, more than 500 attacks have been reported in California. The most recent one was in West Sacramento, where a cab driver was brutally beaten and allegedly called Osama bin Laden. But in a community as diverse as Elk Grove, Atwal says the violence comes from ignorance.
Say after 9/11, it's been almost 9.5 years. So if as a community we are not able to recognize who we are, it is a bad thing.
In response, the state organized a special day of solidarity with the Sikh community. Hundreds of Sikhs gathered on the west steps of the capital. Jewish, Christian, Islamic, and Japanese American communities contributed to the $52,000 reward offered by the Sikh community of Northern California. Politicians and state officials wore turbans, a well-meaning but somewhat awkward gesture to support the community.
You're looking good, Senator. Thank you.
Senate President Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg said it's about more than just a turban.
What's more important is standing with people who have gone through a horrific event, a series of horrific events, and letting them know that we stand with them and that fear will not rule the day here in California.
With the death of Atwal, Elk Grove police have lost their key witness in the investigation.
Just because we're not able to do it quickly doesn't mean we give up. We don't give up, and in fact, we'll pursue that case until there isn't anything left to pursue, and then we still won't close it.
No matter what, you are Sikh or black or white or Asian, so you are simply a walking man or you are going to a walk, it should not happen to anybody. After all, it's going to be a hate crime.
It may seem like old news for residents of Southern California. Immigrants arrive there daily from across the border. But a new wave of immigration is coming from halfway around the world. With hopes for a better life and some help from an international nonprofit, the women among them are making ends meet in a new profession.
In the last 30 years, more than 2 million refugees have resettled in the United States. 80,000 arrived last year, some with little money, few English skills, and no work experience. But in Southern California, some refugees are defying the odds against them. Shamsa Mudaman started her own childcare business 5 years ago on the theory that children in San Diego are the same as the children in Somalia. One difference, in Somalia, the parents paid with food.
Ina maana yake kuingirwa pesa ningirwa mbwani inyumba ino yaunga mapesa moto mapesa ka kila jambo mapesa niyo ile tire mbwani wazana utoze upate shilingi umwike mwenye nyumba shida za kuntuna utenemba utozeze.
She fled Somalia, a country in turmoil for more than 2 decades. After many hardships, Shamsa received a refugee visa in 2004. The International Rescue Committee helped her adjust to Western life. Sharon Kennedy works with refugees in San Diego.
They'll get a pretty thorough orientation in their language about what to expect in the United States, what are their rights, responsibilities, what are the laws that they should be aware of, how to call 911, etc. We'll help the adults enroll in English classes if they need it, and then the next big thing is to help the adults in the family find a job.
But Shamsa only spoke Kazigwa, a tribal language from southern Somalia, and only cares for children who speak the same language.
Sani zina komare imarekani sinda kuiwerera kupata kazi kwangu nani zito kwe mbasuna ino kwe maisha yangu nani mazito lakini usevino hata niva sina kazi naona bwana enga hadodo naona sizoera Marekani.
In 2007, Shamsa started working with the IRC, training to become a licensed childcare provider. Months later, she was granted a state license.
It's a nice way for someone to make money, to support their family, doing something they already know how to do, and that they can do it well without having to have perfect English.
Here at the IRC, they say that applying for a license is not as easy as it seems. The process is lengthy and can cost up to $500, which is a lot for a refugee living on welfare. The requirements are tough. You have to learn CPR and first aid, submit to a background check, give your fingerprints, and take a TB test. And that can be daunting for refugees who only recently lived in African villages. But Kennedy says a license is well worth it.
One of the great things about having the child care license is that they can take care of anybody's children. And with the license, they can expand that.
One who has made the most of what she learned from the IRC is Leah Waldu. She has one valuable advantage. She speaks English.
Sorry guys, I'm coming.
She and her husband fled war-torn Ethiopia as refugees 10 years ago. She cares for her 3 children and treats the 11 others like her own.
In our country, the children call Mama Leah. So, Mama, my children call me Mama. So, people call me Leah, the children mix it, Mama Leah.
When her neighbor couldn't afford licensed childcare, Leah stepped in. Soon after, she earned her childcare license, and her business has been growing ever since. For Terset Regasa, Leah was a blessing.
I had a hard time, finding a daycare for him. So I was looking around everywhere for someone that can speak the same language as I speak.
She and her son Caleb left the cold weather in Colorado 5 years ago, and they've been coming to Mama Leah ever since.
What's your favorite thing about coming here?
Trying to play outside.
Why do you like it?
Because there's the sunshine.
Over the years, Leah has been able to establish a good reputation. She's a certified teacher, so her daycare became a preschool. Her goal, ensuring her students leave here knowing how to read and write.
I've looked at her teaching the kids, and I've seen my son at the same time growing up with her and learning, the alphabets, the numbers, every education he needed to know before school time, before kindergarten, right?
Already caring for as many children as the law allows, Leah is also encouraging other refugee women to get into the business.
Most of my friend, I ask them, let's go open, you have to open daycare, so start with me for 1 month, practice. I told them, let's go, you can do like this. No. Everybody, he don't want it. Patient, he need patient child care.
Leah is an unusual case. Knowing 4 languages helps her communicate easily with children from various ethnic backgrounds. But without those language skills, women like Shamsa have seen their businesses grow less quickly. In addition to her own children, Shamsa cares for 7 nieces and nephews so that her cousins who speak English can work or go to school. Despite their struggles with language, these women have found a path to success. Leah says she knew when to ask for help, and she never gave up.
My heart is full of peace. I can handle it, whatever is coming to me. You can do it, everything, if you want it, you can do it.